3 men are arrested after an attempted robbery of 10 million Hong Kong dollars worth of foreign currencies in Sheung Wan. Jimmy Lai decides not to appeal his national security conviction and 20-year jail term. And an 85-year-old patient dies after surgery created a stoma in stomach instead of the intended position of transverse colon. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Jeremy Zhu. Police have smashed a sophisticated robbery gang red-handed in Sheung Wan, arresting 3 suspects after they attempted to flee with nearly $10 million in a dramatic street heist. Quentin Yang reports.
The operation unfolded at Sheung Wan MTR station this morning, where 2 robbers, faces shrouded in black cloth, were subdued by officers moments after lunging at 2 individuals who had just exchanged a massive sum of foreign currency worth over $10 million at a nearby money changer. 2 knives were recovered at the scene, where bloodstains marked the ground. A silver 7-seater, believed to be the getaway car, was also intercepted, and the driver was arrested. Superintendent Lo Ka-chun of the Organized Crime and Triad Bureau said officers acted on a specific intelligence tip-off and were waiting inside the station to ambush the suspects. Their swift intervention ensured no loot was taken, although one of the 2 victims sustained minor injuries during the heist. The 2 were relatives from Hong Kong and Macau respectively. The 3 suspects, all local men aged 19 to 31 and some reportedly with triad links, are now in custody as investigators probe possible connections to other recent crimes. Lo revealed that the foiled heist is the 3rd similar attack targeting currency exchange customers in recent months. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
Imprisoned media mogul Jimmy Lai has decided not to appeal his 20-year sentence for colluding with foreign forces and sedition, drawing a final line under the city's most significant national security prosecution. Quentin Yang reports.
Lai's Hong Kong legal team confirmed he has given firm instructions not to challenge either the guilty verdicts or the sentence, which followed his conviction on 2 counts of conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and 1 count of conspiracy to publish seditious publications last December. His lawyer gave no reason for the decision. The 78-year-old founder of the now-defunct Apple Daily was described by judges as the mastermind and driving force behind plots to destabilize the city, an aggravating factor that pushed his punishment toward the upper limits. The court nonetheless trimmed the overall term after taking into account his age, health problems, and the fact that he's being held in near solitary confinement, before fixing the punishment at 20 years. Lai's decision to forgo an appeal means his 20-year term now stands final, and he may face the prospects of spending the remainder of his life behind bars. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
Joshua Wong, former Secretary General of the now-defunct political group Demosisto, has appeared in court accused of conspiring to collude with foreign forces. The case has been adjourned by the judge until May 14th. Wong, already serving a sentence in the 35-plus subversion case, was brought to court by prison van. Designated National Security Judge Victor So ordered the adjournment, marking the 4th mention of the case, to deal with procedures for transferring it to the High Court. Prosecutors allege that between July and November 2020, Wong conspired with former Demosisto chair Nathan Law and others to seek foreign powers to take hostile action against China or Hong Kong. He faces charges of money laundering and conspiracy to collude with foreign forces under the national security law. The Hong Kong Journalists Association has lost its judicial review challenge against new rules on vehicle registration searches after the High Court dismissed the case. The Transport Department revised the system 2 years ago. Journalists must now apply in writing and show that the request involves significant public interest before access is granted. The association argued the change undermines press freedom. Justice Russell Coleman ruled in favor of the department, saying reporters cannot compel the government to release personal data without reasonable grounds. While journalists have a right to obtain information from public bodies, the law does not automatically extend that right to private data. He noted that applications made for reporting purposes are more likely to be accepted, but stressed the requirement to apply is reasonable and protects vehicle owners' privacy. On past refusals, the judge said there was no undue delay and that the Commissioner for Transport had considered relevant factors before making decisions.
Sheung Wan Hospital is investigating a suspected medical blunder where a patient with colon cancer died 3 weeks after undergoing an operation that cut an opening in her stomach rather than the intended position in the transverse colon. Jamie Liu has the details.
The incident involved an 85-year-old woman receiving treatment at Sheung Wan Hospital. On February 7th, she underwent a transverse colostomy aimed at creating a surgical opening known as a stoma to alleviate a bowel obstruction. She was then monitored in the intensive care unit and the surgical ward there. About a week later, she was transferred to Haven of Hope Hospital, where her vital signs remained stable. However, her stoma continued to produce a relatively high output. On March 1st, the patient began experiencing abdominal pain, low blood pressure, and a rapid heartbeat, and was taken back to Sheung Wan Hospital. On Tuesday, an emergency CT scan revealed the opening was in the stomach, not the planned location in the transverse colon. By then, the patient was severely dehydrated and developed supraventricular tachycardia, a condition where the heart suddenly beats much faster than normal. As her condition worsened, medical staff consulted with her family and agreed not to perform cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The patient passed away that day from multiple organ failure. The hospital expressed deep sorrow over the incident and confirmed that its staff has met the patient's family to offer an explanation in detail and an apology. The hospital said it would conduct an investigation and submit a report in 8 weeks. The case has been referred to the coroner for follow-up action. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
In Beijing, Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang met with Hong Kong and Macau members of the nation's top political advisory body during the ongoing 2 sessions. He stressed that Hong Kong's executive-led political system must be a shared duty of the legislature, judiciary, and society. Jamie Liu again reports.
Ding attended a meeting with members of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference from the 2 SARs. He was flanked by CPPCC Vice Chairman Leung Chun-ying and Edmund Ho, with Xia Baolong, Director of Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, and Zhou Ji, Head of Beijing's Liaison Office in Hong Kong, in attendance. Ding said that to truly implement the executive-led governance system in the 2 SARs is not an easy task, because not only it requires the chief executive and the government to strengthen the sense of being the head of a household, but also needs cooperation and support from all aspects of society, including the legislative and judicial branches, as what he called a shared responsibility. Over 200 people attended the meeting, which later proceeded in a closed-door setting. According to CPPCC member So Chang-wing, Ding also commented on Hong Kong's response to the Wang Fuk Court deadly fire. So said the official had praised the SAR's quick use of resources and the decision to keep the Legislative Council election on schedule. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
The U.S. military claims to have obliterated an Iranian drone carrier in the Indian Ocean and destroyed over 30 vessels in a sweeping 72-hour bombardment. As the strikes escalated, Iran continued to pound U.S. and Israeli assets across the Gulf, prompting Washington to seek urgent counter-drone expertise from Ukraine. Quentin Yang has the story.
Deafening explosions continued to rock Tehran for a 5th day on Thursday. In a stark escalation, the Israeli military revealed it conducted 2,500 airstrikes against the Iranian capital, eliminating 80% of the country's air defenses and securing near total control of its skies. Meanwhile, U.S. Central Command reported it has slashed Tehran's ballistic missile and drone attacks by over 90% and 83% respectively, after striking nearly 200 targets inside Iran. At sea, the U.S. Navy claims to have crippled more than 30 Iranian vessels, including a massive drone carrier now ablaze in the Persian Gulf, crippling Tehran's naval power. From Washington, U.S. President Donald Trump announced the joint U.S.-Israeli operation has neutralized Iran's Navy and Air Forces, while revealing Tehran is reaching out for negotiations, but dismissed it as too late. He insists the entire Iranian leadership must be eradicated, and he will not accept Mojtaba Khamenei, the second son of the assassinated Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, to be the successor, adding that the U.S. should have a hand in selecting the country's next supreme leader. In direct retaliation, Iran struck U.S. facilities across the Gulf, including the Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain and a strategic Saudi oil refinery, and dispatched two Su-24 bombers loaded with guided weapons toward America's largest base in Qatar, both of which were shot down. As the region teeters on the edge of all-out war, an unexpected player has entered the fray. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed the U.S. has requested Kyiv's assistance in defending Gulf nations against Iranian Shahid drones, the very munitions Russia has used to terrorize Ukrainian cities. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
As the United States and Israel wage war on Iran, global fuel costs have surged, stoking fears of a worldwide supply crunch. U.S. President Donald Trump downplayed the rising gas prices at home and ruled out tapping into his country's strategic reserve. Jamie Liu reports.
Since the war started a week ago, global oil prices have jumped 16%, and American crude oil prices even topped $80 per barrel on Thursday. In an exclusive interview with Reuters, Trump said he was not concerned about rising U.S. gas prices, saying the military operation was his priority. If they rise, they rise, the U.S. president added, and that he was not looking to tap Washington's emergency crude stockpile. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent issued a 30-day waiver to India, the world's third-largest oil importer, to resume purchase sanctioned oil from Russia. Bessent insisted that a short-term measure will not provide significant financial benefit to the Russian government. This came as attacks on vessels and Iranian threats have effectively halted traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow Gulf choke point. Reuters reported that China is in talks with Iran to allow crude oil and Qatari liquefied natural gas vessels safe passage through the waterway. The world's second-largest economy gets about 45% of its oil from the strait. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index rose more than 400 points today, but over the week it still recorded a loss of more than 800 points, down over 3%. Top active stocks of the day, Tencent was up $17. Alibaba was up $4.40. BYD was up $2.10, and SMIC was up 30 cents. On to the weather now. Mainly fine, cloudy periods and 1 or 2 light rain patches overnight. Temperatures will range between 18 and 21 degrees tomorrow. Mainly fine and windy in the following couple of days. That's our news tonight. I'm Jeremy Ju. Thanks for watching and good night.